masters of speed. This is Formula One.
Welcome to Shanghai, guys. I'm Draftmaster Flash. It's another setup video, the last one for the dry setups. Let's go. So you know the drill, or you should know the drill by now. 5 red lights. Really poor start. Really poor start. But we'll make up for it. Oh, I snuck through. Can I hold him off? Oh, side by side. Iwaza and Lawson. Laps. Do you know what? Right, I gotta be honest. Apart from the hairpin, this circuit is really good. The hairpin coming up now. Apart from this part, it's a really good circuit. You've got to be so careful of this part here when your tyres are worn. It caught me up many times in 2020. Because it just does. It just does. But what can I say about the F2 racing around? F2 racing around Shanghai is pretty much like F2 racing around Portimao. Absolutely awesome. You can really throw the cars into corners and they just stick. You know, areas where you wouldn't expect them to stick, they do. It's a shame though, the circuit hasn't changed much. Well, what I mean by hasn't changed much, like, I don't know, they just seem to kind of like bolt these circuits on from past games and not change much about them. Well, that's what it feels like anyway. Obviously Shanghai's not been raced in multiple years, obviously due to C19. It doesn't look like it's going to be raced in 2023 either, or at least in the real world. So yeah, it's just kind of like, oh, we'll chuck it in again. Even though Shanghai was on the calendar for 23. It's okay though, it's all good, it's all Gucci. But yeah, the hardest part of this circuit for me is this bit right here. Everything else I just love about it. One thing I will say though is China Circuit, Shanghai Circuit, this is where we are, is a very, very high tyre deg circuit. Very high. Yes, we're only on 5 lappers, but even at anything above 25%, and I wouldn't even entertain using the softs, especially in the F1 cars. Softs last about 4 laps. It's very much like Kota in a respect, but the tyre deg is so high. Be careful of that curb on the outside. Very careful, in fact. And obviously check the setup out which comes after the race, and if nothing works, because obviously we all drive differently, yeah? We all have the same goal, but we all drive differently or do things differently. If you try the setup and the setup don't work, let me know in the comments and I will fix it, or I will try and fix the setup for you to get it working. Love that sequence of corners. Don't think there's another sequence of corners just quite like it. Or not to my knowledge at this precise moment in time, because I'm focused on doing this, but don't know. Sepang maybe, if I can remember correctly. Or I might just be making that up, I'm not too sure. But as you can see, from this point where I am right now to where I was last lap, I've used 4% on the fronts. It's a real killer on the front tyres. I managed to pull out a DRS though, no, so out of DRS, so that's quite cool. You can't. I know that the F1 cars, they have obviously in excess of 400 horsepower more than the F2 cars, but you have to drive them so differently. The engine braking works a lot better, I find, in F2 cars as well. F2 cars have a much better well, they just seem to have just so much more. Even the toe seems to be a hell of a lot stronger in these F2 cars. Oh, too much on the curb. Even, yeah, like I said, the toe seems to work a lot better as well in these cars than it does in the F1 cars, and you can visually see it as well. I mean, that's why it was so important that I broke the DRS, because they just fly. Then you've got no way of catching them. As you can see, use another 4% on the fronts. Pretty much same place I was last lap. Let's get in the 44s.
Okay, this is your final lap.
I'll do it. I'll take the 44.9.
Leading our teammate by 4.9 seconds.
Have to be careful of those bumps as well into turn 1. They can throw you off. But like I said, the engine braking is a lot better in these F2 cars as well than it is in the F1. There used to be a nasty bump right in the middle of that corner as well. Thankfully they took it out. Better. Not so much curve this time round. And see also what I mean about make mistakes. Learn from them. Chuck the car in and see what sticks, see what happens, see if it works. I think China, like a lot of circuits, is a confidence circuit really. The higher your confidence in circuits, or the more knowledge you gain of circuits, the faster and better you become. Because you'll know certain corners where you can throw the car in and where you can't. And the corners where you have to be extremely difficult, extremely light and easy on throttle application. But this has been China. This is the last dry setup. On to the wet setup. So I just posted the purple sector.
That's the race.
Have a good one, guys.
So another fantastic victory for ART today. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
This race, this win, was about one thing and one thing only: consistency. Anyone can be quick for just one lap, but there's a difference between that and being quick every lap, over and over and over. If you can do that, if you can gain ground when your opponents make mistakes, but then not make mistakes on your own. You can just push and push.
ART, the French team who have been racing since the 90s in various forms of motorsport, are once again back on the winner's podium today after a brilliant display of driving skill. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
Lots of driver impressed me today, Alex. But if I have to say one that impressed me most, it's Federic Vesti.
There will be plenty more twists and turns to come this season. I hope you'll join us at the next race when Formula 2.
So, China setup, here we go. I've gone with 12 on the front and 9 on the rear. And you're probably looking at this and thinking, wow, it is completely different to Portimao or the other circuits we've had, yet we have got a lot of high and low speed corners, so where's the downforce? The strange thing is, around here, you don't really need it. I know it sounds strange. The only two places where you really need the kind of high downforce is turn 1, you know, the long right-hander, and then you got the hairpin then to lead you onto the long back straight. But it's surprising, China has quite a lot of high-speed corners. It really, really does. So this is what I've gone with. The transmission, you know by now, or the ramp differential as it's called in the F2 cars. We're going full, so it's 80% on, 20% off. Standard, right, left. And you guys know the drill by now. You need to mess around with it, change it. Don't be afraid to change things. Don't. Just do it. You got the base set up. You know, make mistakes, make changes, make mistakes, revert your changes, make a little. Go nuts. Gone with a standard, pretty much 3-1, 3-1, 4-5. Again, you can change the ride out to 4-6, 5-4. You know, I wouldn't recommend taking it any lower than 4 because as you go into turn 1, listen, just listen to it or look at it. Look at the car. There are quite a lot of bumps into turn 1. There are some as well going into the hairpin. So yeah, you need to be careful of that. I wouldn't recommend lowering the ride out any more than what it currently is, but that's up to you. Again, make changes. Go, feel free. Just go ahead. Go, take yourself. Go nuts. You know, you don't learn until you make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, even in my driving. I know that the stupid things that I do annoys me, but don't be afraid. You know, do you. Brakes, we all know the reason behind that. And then tyres, I've gone with pretty much the lowest, or bar 1 click on the rear. You have to remember though, with China is a high degradation tyre circuit, really, really bad. So you have to be careful when doing this. Probably, I would increase these by 1 or 2 more clicks, probably a 21.3. But for the purpose of this, what I'm showing you with a setup wise, 20.8 is fine. But yeah, this has been China, guys. I am going to go on and do all the wet setups that I can for F2, and then yeah, hopefully it'll help. Wherever you are in the world today, though, guys, hope you're good. Hope you're well. Take care. Remember to do all that good stuff. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.